Hi, Jim.
Hi, how are you guys? Is everyone?
Hey, Jim.
Hi.
Mark is the, I don't have the address on Bishop Mountain Road, but you have it right there?
I do, yeah. It's 1756.
1756, okay. I guess we can start the meeting. Welcome, everyone. This is a public information meeting to rezone a property on 1756 Bishop Mountain Road in North Kingston. My name's Dick Killam. I'm the counselor for the area, and I'm chairing this meeting. We're asking for an automotive RV sales and service operation, and the applicant is Edward Parsons. And this meeting is basically to inform the public of the application that may be of community interest. Planning staff will explain policies under which council may consider the application and the criteria used to evaluate the proposal. And there's been no decisions made on this particular item. It also gives the applicant the chance to present the proposal directly to those interested, and also allows neighbors to ask questions and provide early comments via phone call or email to the planner to be included as part of the staff report to the Planning Advisory Committee. I think at this time I'd like to introduce, I could introduce everyone, but maybe everybody can do that if they wish. I don't know if that's a normal formality, or the folks that are on are part of the planning committee. We have Councillor Allen and Councillor Armstrong and Councillor Granger, Councillor Windsor, and Trish Shavrak and Aaron. And I can't see some of the people here that are on this screen, so if I missed you, I apologize. But I think at this point, I'll turn this over to Mark Fredericks. He is the GIS planner. And as I mentioned before, the applicant is Edward Parsons. Go ahead, Mark, if you wish.
Okay, can everyone see that slide?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, cool. Thank you and welcome. This is a public information meeting for a rezoning application. We received this from Edward Parsons, who's requested to rezone a property to the highway commercial zone. The purpose of the meeting is primarily to inform the public of the application and to review planning policies and provide any, receive any preliminary feedback from the public. The location is in North Kingston, which is just north of the Highway 101. And we'll look at that in more detail. The proposal is to rezone the property. It's a large property and it's located directly
Mark,
next
if
to
you're still
highway.
speaking, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Is everyone able to hear me now?
Yes, you're back.
Okay.
I'm hearing him fine.
Okay. It might
Yep.
just be my computer that's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a large property. It's located next to Highway 101. The address is 1756 Bishop Mountain Road, and there is an existing dwelling on that property. The request is to rezone the entire property to the highway commercial zone, which is known as the C5 zone. And that zone would allow for the applicant's intended use, which is an automobile or RV sales and service use. The zoning here is rural mixed use. You can see this brown area on the north side of Highway 101 is a kind of rural designation, and it falls into this rural mixed use. Everything south of 101 here is a portion of the village of Kingston. So there's a variety of zoning in there. And you can see this property is right next to Highway 101. This is just a street view of that image of that property. This is the property here, and this is the exit that you would take to get to Kingston if you're coming from the east. This is an air photograph. This is the existing dwelling you can see here, and there's a large portion of the property that's sort of vacant. Some of it's forested at the moment, but certainly a lot of potential here and good visibility from Highway 101 coming from either direction. And this is just a zoomed in photograph. There is a neighbor here next door, and we have heard from them. They weren't able to attend this online meeting, but we are in conversation with them about the project that's happening right next door to them. So the highway commercial zone has some criteria when someone requests that they rezone to it. The planning strategy lists a few criteria. So when considering proposals to rezone land to the highway commercial zone, council shall look at the following. One, is the property in the vicinity of the Highway 101 interchange? So is it close to a highway exit? Does it have frontage on a road other than Highway 101? That is to say, this one, for example, would have road frontage on Bishop Mountain Road. The other criteria look at whether it's not located in the Grand Pré or Greenwich area. So there's the ability to rezone to a highway commercial zone except for a couple of our highway exits, those being Grand Pré and Greenwich. And then the other criteria is that it can satisfy the general criteria for amending the land use bylaw. So highway commercial rezoning process would look at these specific criteria as well as the long list of general amendment criteria that we always look at. And those look at whether the proposal is in keeping with the intent of the planning strategy, financial impact, land use compatibility, proximity to schools and community facilities, traffic hazards or congestion. Certainly traffic is an aspect of why we look for that road frontage on a road other than Highway 101. We also look at adequacy of fire protection, adequacy of sewer and water services. We look at potential for flooding or serious drainage problems. We also look at the well field areas. And pollution, potential for pollution, and siltation of water courses. We look at any impact that the proposal may have on lake water quality or wetlands, and any potential impact on neighboring farming operations. We also look at the general suitability of the site. Is it super steep, or is there loose soil or something? So we look at the grade in the soil and the geological conditions here, as well as utility right-of-way. So if there's a power right-of-way across the property, for example. Those are the sort of general criteria that we look at. And again, we look at those specific highway commercial criteria as well. So that's a bit of a review of the policies and criteria that we'll review in the staff report. And again, this is a fairly early step in the process. This is primarily to inform the public and gather feedback from the public, which will then contribute to a staff review and a report that goes to the Planning Advisory Committee. Following that committee step, the Municipal Council will consider the rezoning request and hold a public hearing for additional public input. So before I pass it to the chair, I would like to highlight the neighboring property. I mentioned there's a home next to this property. They were not able to attend the online meeting, but they did have questions about driveway access. Currently, they share a driveway with this property owner, and they are concerned about potential commercial traffic on a shared driveway because they maintain that and clear snow. And so they had some concern about the driveway. And so staff will be working with both the applicant and the road authority, Department of Transportation in this case. We will be working with those folks to answer those questions and provide those answers to the next door neighbors. So with that, I'll pass it back to the Councillor Killam.
Thanks, Mark. This particular meeting is recorded, so people have up to 30 days, I believe, to have the comments and post a presentation with questions or comments to the planner. And that would be reported and included in the planning advisory report to the committee. And I guess the other thing I'd have to mention, or should mention, is that anyone making comments should leave their name and their address with respect to where they live, with any of the comments that you might want to make. So I guess right now I'll have to turn it over to anyone that would like to comment through this video conference method. So I'll wait to hear from anybody that would like to comment. Thank you.
With all respect, the only person that has property adjoining Edward Parsons' land is myself, and I'm here.
Hi, Donna. Thank you. This technology is new. Hard to get everybody involved here.
And none of that is true. So I don't know where this information came from.
None of what information?
But the adjoining driveway, nothing.
Okay. I can ask Mark. Any comments there, Mark?
Sure. Yeah, I'm just that was just a follow up to a couple of telephone calls that I had with someone who identified as the adjacent landowner, the neighboring property. So that was just to highlight that there was some correspondence that was just not reflected in this online meeting. But I think Donna, yourself, and I can converse about that and talk about those neighbors. And just their main concern was just that the shared driveway that they use. They didn't want to have commercial activity on that driveway.
There is no driveway that's shared.
Yeah, so my understanding was they have a driveway and there's another driveway to the home that's on this property, which I guess is yours, Donna.
If you go to the viewpoint, there is no other driveway. I have my own paved driveway. The other driveway would be a tenant's driveway that's on Eddie's property. He rents a piece of property.
Okay, so there may have been a misunderstanding about the ownership of the land, but the neighbors just had a concern with the driveway. Not that the driveways were being shared for the homes, but that there was some activity on the neighboring driveway to get to the back of the property. But again, this sort of detail is part of the process. I think this is why we hold this type of meeting at the very beginning of the process, to identify these sorts of issues and work through any kind of misunderstandings that might exist. So we can follow up with that and highlight that concern in the future staff report.
Thank you.
Donna, could I get your full name and your address?
Sure. It's Donna Parsons.
Yes.
My number here is 765-8343, and my cell 825-7312. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Any other comments or questions? Please feel free.
I have a question. So will they be using like the front part of their property as more of like a staging area for what they're selling? Is that what I'm understanding? Like they'll be, they'll be showing all of the RVs or whatever it is that they're selling. Are they putting them all?
The entrance would be, of course, off the Bishop Mountain Road.
I'm sorry?
The entrance and that to the business would be off of Bishop Mountain Road.
Right.
Donna, this is Councillor June Granger that's asking the question.
Thank you.
Mark, did you have any comment on that, or that's more coming later?
Sure.
With the
yeah, I mean, I think at this stage we don't know exactly where RVs are going to be parked. I mean, that, and ultimately that'll be part of the permitting process. If the property does get rezoned to the highway commercial zone, the applicants can go through the permitting process, and where they position RVs is somewhat up to them. So we're not really at that stage to be able to answer that question just yet. But if Lana had any additional comments, then she may know. But at this point, we're not really sure.
Great, thank you.
Anyone else would like to comment? Just feel free. Well, I'm hearing silence at this point, so basically, I just have to let you know that those that are listening, that the planner is available to receive any further comments and questions, and you can contact Mark at Mark Fredericks at 902-690-6276 or by email. And his email address is mfredericks@countyofkings.ca. I'd just like to thank everyone for attending this particular meeting. And Donna?
I'm sorry, can I please speak before we leave? What I wish to say is there's definitely been a misunderstanding, because the only other person that I have no idea who you spoke to would have to have been a renter. And when this is passed, if it is passed, this renter will no longer be in the picture, because Eddie will have the renter leave and use the land for the RV dealership. So the renter will have no input whatsoever. He won't be involved in this.
Thank you, Donna. Anything else anybody like to add before I close the meeting? Please feel free. Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned, and I'm sure there'll be more information forthcoming. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dick.